All right, so here we are again.
We have been, I'll start this one off by saying we have been saying that we are going to compare our gear for I don't know how long.
And something always happens.
I don't know if it's something that don't want us to do it, but something always happens.
Yes.
You drop your bow.
Off the counter.
We forget our bows. We do whatever it may whatever.
Hey, we had the other one recorded, and I'm editing it, and we knew that this was going to be a problem, but we didn't know how big of a problem.
That's right.
I'm editing the video, and we're doing it outside.
Yeah.
As it's getting dark. It was terrible quality.
We run out of light.
Nah, we can't do this.
I mean, it's just been.
So this is the third time recording this one.
And I'm hoping this is the last time.
It better be.
Oh, man.
Because I know just as much about your bow as I do mine right now.
Yeah, I was about to say. Matter of fact, Talon's thinking about getting a bow, and he's going to get a BOWTECH, probably because we've done 3 episodes on this, and we hadn't launched one of them.
Yeah.
So Talon knows all about these bows.
Hey, if we'd waited just a little bit longer, he could have joined us having his bow. That's funny.
But yeah, man, we're gonna talk about our gear today. We're gonna compare.
Yep.
And if I have anything to say to the listeners, if you are thinking about getting into bow hunting, listen to this podcast before you make the decision to buy a bow. I think this will be a good one to get you up to speed if you've never been a bow hunter, or if you're a bow hunter looking to upgrade. Mm-hmm. I think this episode is going to be a good one to listen to before you make that decision and you buy that expensive bow or mid-range bow or whatever you're looking at buying.
Yeah, we're going to show some of the more top-of-the-line bows in this video, but we'll talk about some of the more budget bows too, because I'm just coming off of one of those.
Yeah.
And it was great. Killed deer with it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Absolutely.
I was just ready to step up. So I do want to go ahead and say that you do not have to have a top-of-the-line bow, to shoot targets with your buddies or hunt with.
Yeah, don't take this video the wrong way that you have to buy something like we have. Not saying that you can't. By all means, go as high as you want, but don't think just because we're showing these bows, that's what kills deer. That's what you got to have. Yeah. That's nowhere near the case.
The goal for this video, I would say, tell me if you agree or if you would change anything I say here, but the goal for this video is just to compare MATHEWS and BOWTECH.
Yeah.
Show you some pros and cons of each.
Yep.
Because I think that MATHEW really caters to one group of guys, and BOWTECH kind of, the way I see it, caters to another group of guys. Basically, if you like to tinker, we're gonna see that BOWTECH has a lot to offer.
That's right.
If you love just the smoothness and you're a MATHEWS loyalist like you are, then MATHEWS.
Yeah, if you're, I guess you could say a set up and leave alone kind of guy.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
And that's the 2 groups you're talking about. That's the ones they cater to. Mm-hmm. The ones that like to tinker and the ones that like to fix on their own, and the ones that like to set their bow up for their self.
Yep.
That's it, and leave it alone for years to come. But yeah, we'll get into. You want to do MATHEWS or BOWTECH first?
Let's do MATHEWS first, just because that's what we did every other time we recorded this.
Yeah, I think we should be 100% good on this.
I feel like it's probably going to sound like we're doing a script. Yeah. It's just off of memory.
That's right. But, so what you got is, so it kind of, so I hit I guess you can say, not really, I don't know how to explain it. So what I did was I bought this Phase 4 about 2 months before MATHEWS dropped the MATHEWS Lift, which is the new 2024. This is a 2023 Phase 4. MATHEWS dropped the MATHEWS Lift about 2 months after I bought this, which is the 2024 MATHEWS bow. But I thought to myself, when they dropped that bow, did I make a mistake? And come to find out, after talking to the BOWTECHs and doing my research, there's not much difference between the MATHEWS Phase 4 and the MATHEWS Lift. So a lot of BOWTECHs have told me you didn't make a bad decision by going with the Phase 4 because the Phase 4 at that point in time was about $400 less to buy Then the lift come out around, I think, $1,400 to $1,500. I bought this one for $1,100. Now that's naked. Mm-hmm. So when I bought this bow, I thought to myself, maybe I made a mistake, but found out that I didn't, because the only thing that the Matthews engineers did was they shaved down the limbs to bring a little bit of weight off, and there may be a few small little things that they did, but not noticeable enough for me, even if they'd have come out with the lift and I was looking at the bows, for me to have gone with the lift and pay an extra $400 to $500.
Well, I really think, too, that Matthews is so good at what they do.
Right.
I mean, there comes a point where
you hate to say it, but it's almost like they're running out of ideas.
They're having to get really creative.
Right. And
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And unless they have some big plan in the future to have bows that shoot theirself or something, I don't know. But they're so far with their technology that, like you said, I think the new bow that comes out is pretty much, if you want the new bow, go get it. If you don't, shoot what you got.
Man, these fletchings right here look good.
That's because you did it.
Yeah, I know. They still holding on.
That's right. That's right. Hey, one of them's been through kicker.
Yeah.
I believe it's that first one you was just touching. All I did was wash her off. I washed the blood off. I cleaned her up real good, and I put it back in the quiver, and it's ready to shoot another one.
There you go. That's all you need.
But yeah, so this is the Matthews Phase 4, and I'll go over a few of the little, I guess you could say, pros and cons to Matthews. Like we talked about earlier, I'm with the group of guys that is a set up, leave it alone, shoot the bow, and go hunting. I'm that kind of group of. I'm in that group of guys. So I've always been loyal to Matthews. I've shot a Matthews DXT for, I think, 12 to 15 years before I bought the Phase 4. Could be off on my timeline there, but for a long time I shot the Matthews DXT. Loved it. Matter of fact, I hated to get rid of it, and I kind of kicked myself for getting rid of it. It would have been a great backup bow. But I got rid of my DXT, and I wanted to upgrade, so I went to the Phase 4. I have no complaints with this bow. It's been a great one. I killed kicker with this bow. That was the first deer I shot with this bow. It's fast. It's a great bow. To get into some of the things, the new engineering on these bows is I think, was a huge leap when they come up where they engineered the bridge lock system. Mm-hmm. But the bridge lock system, I don't know if you can see it or not, but the bridge lock system is the middle of the bow that goes all the way down to about where your stabilizer goes in. But what that does is that allows everything to dovetail. I don't know if you can see it, but it allows everything to dovetail into the middle of your bow. What that does is it helps with torque, several different things.
Instead of attaching stuff to the side of your bow,
yes,
it's sitting in the middle of your riser. So
I guess you can
balanced.
say it balances it out better. Yep. Yeah, it balances that bow out better. So everything is trying. What they tried to do is get everything centered. So with that being said, with this bow, I bought the dovetail sight that goes in. Now you can use a different sight, I believe. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I bought a dovetail sight which goes into the middle of the bow, into the bridge lock system, for that reason, to balance the bow out, just like they engineered it. And then I bought the low profile. What do they call it? The QAD ultra micro adjustable. Micro adjustable rest. Micro adjustable is
ultra rest is the name of yours.
Ultra rest. Micro adjustable drop away rest is the way to go, in my opinion. And mine's low profile. What mine is the Matthews drop away rest that they recommend.
Now, what makes it low profile? What do you mean?
Low profile, it sits behind. It's not dovetailed, but it sits behind the center of the bow, just like everything else, which I think yours does too.
No.
Not to us. Yeah, no. Okay.
Not like yours.
Right. So there's little notches here.
Maybe you can, but I don't think I have the one to do it with.
So it's low profile. In other words, it sits even with the bow, and it goes down everything just like everything that's locked into the bridge lock system.
To me, from this angle, it looks like instead of mounting to the side,
yeah,
it's mounted to the back of the riser.
pretty much. Yep.
Which makes it where you can get your quiver so much tighter to the riser.
Right, which goes to with this bow too. I also got the low profile MATHEWS quiver.
Mm-hmm.
I did try to budget this bow. When I first bought this bow, it was, like I said, it was around $1,100, something like that. And when I first bought this bow, I tried to budget it. I tried to put aftermarket stuff on it, like a Trophy Ridge quiver. I believe, what kind of rest you got on yours?
Ripcord.
Ripcord. I tried to put the Ripcord drop-away rest on it. I tried to do the best I could to not have to use the MATHEWS components, and it did not work.
Yeah.
So MATHEWS, if you're ever listening and you work for MATHEWS or anything, you did a good job by making somebody use your equipment, which I believe was on purpose.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. You have to buy their accessories.
Right,
Yeah.
which makes everything on this bow extremely expensive. But I have no complaints as to the way the bow is silent. It shoots outstanding. But like I said, that's one of the cons to this bow is you can't really budget this bow to a certain extent to get the price down. If you want to get the price down, you just about have to go with the MATHEWS accessories to put on this bow, which drives that price up. But
I would approach it too with the fact, or from the mindset, if you're going all out, on a new Phase 4, you might as well go ahead.
If you're going to pay the $2,000 to get a bow,
it only costs a little bit more to go first class.
Get what you want.
Or hey, the way my uncle used to say, if you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly.
That's exactly right. I like that. That's exactly right.
And plus, you got the money.
Oh boy, I hope nobody finds out what's in my bank account. But yeah, man, I have no regrets on buying this bow. I love this bow. Some of the pros to this bow is, one, we've already talked about, the bridge lock system. I think this bow shoots 340 foot per second, and that's naked, and that's at full poundage.
70 pounds.
70 pounds, 340 foot per second, which is smoking. That's outstanding. Some of the other things is, like I said, it's smooth. Your drawback, your wall. There is nothing that says that this bow is not what you want. I have heard people complain about the grip, but they do make aftermarket grips. I think Chris B makes some pretty good ones.
Yep.
So you can change that out. So there's a few things that you can tweak to make you like the bow, or I guess you could say to fit your style.
But I will say it is. I've only shot 2 MATHEWS, in my life, but the ones that I've shot, they are smooth.
Yes,
as
smooth.
butter.
Yeah.
And yours is no different.
They it's really, really a good shooting bow.
Very dead in the hands.
Yes.
Man, I'm dying for you to say something about the stand right here.
That's what I was
itching
getting
for
to
you
next.
To do it.
So the only thing that I could really budget on this bow was the stabilizer, which I got a Stinger stabilizer, which is an outstanding stabilizer, but it's not as much as, it don't cost as much as the MATHEWS. But that bridge lock system makes a huge difference. That's one of the pros to this bow, is that bridge lock system, and I think a lot of other bows are going to the bridge lock system as well. But it keeps everything balanced. It is really, really dead in the hand, like we talked about earlier. But one of my, and it may sound crazy, but this is probably the cheapest MATHEWS part that I bought to go on this bow, but is this stand. So when MATHEWS engineered this stand, they engineered this stand for the MATHEWS bow specifically. This won't fit on any other bow, to my knowledge. I don't know if you may could I don't know if you could modify it some way, or you could,
I will say this: I've tried to look for a stand like that for my bow, and I can't find anything.
When MATHEWS,
so I think it's just a MATHEWS.
When
thing.
MATHEWS come up with this stand, you can take this off. What it does is kind of latches in to the limb there. But when MATHEWS come out with this stand here, that allows you to do, I mean, dude, you wouldn't think that would make a huge difference.
No, yeah, I would.
Oh, my goodness, man. That thing is a lifesaver. When you're outside and you're just tinkering in the yard and you want to shoot your bow a little bit, leave it standing. You don't have to lay it down. You don't have to put it on the tailgate. You don't have to leave it standing. That thing is a lifesaver. I think Matthews hit the nail on the head when they engineered that. That was great.
I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. To me, that's a big thing. I know it seems little, but to me, that's a big thing that I like about Matthews is how they have that.
Yeah.
And I do wish that BOWTECH would have some kind of stand option like
Right.
that. And there's a way, I've been researching it, there's a way that I could have that like you do, but it would be, I would have to have these two, looks like little stabilizers is what it is, come off each side.
Yeah.
And Hoyt makes it, if I remember right, but it screws in. But I would have to have a long stabilizer
Right.
in order for it to tilt. So the stabilizer is what would be resting on the ground. I don't really want to do that. That is a cool system.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I like it a lot. That's the BOWTECH. When I bought this bow, the BOWTECH said, "Man, you've got to get this." He said, "You wouldn't think that you just bought a however much it was, bow." And
he's a good salesman. I'm gonna say that.
Absolutely, he'll talk you into something.
Yeah, he will.
He's good.
Yeah, he will.
But man, I'm glad he talked me into that because that right there, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
When you're not in the woods. One other thing that I like about this is Matthews come out with a low profile quiver, and that low profile quiver allows you. I used to be a hunter that hunted with my quiver on, and I shot with my quiver on. I never messed with my bows. But they have come up with the low profile quiver that you can put on the bows, which sits very close to the bow, which also helps with balance and torque and all that. But now I take my quiver off when I'm hunting. I hang it on the tree. I hang it on a limb beside me or whatever. But if you are a guy that likes to, like I used to be, that likes to hunt with the quiver on, this is your setup here. Low profile. Everything, I guess you could say, to sum up everything, the engineers have compacted everything to the best of their ability, I think. Now, they may come up with something one day that looks like a pure string all the way up and down it, but in my opinion, they have compacted things to the point to where it's outstanding. I mean, I love it. Since I talked about how good the bow is and just a few cons, one really big con to this bow and Matthews in general is if you like to tinker with bows and you like to change things like your draw length, your weight. I could change the poundage on this if I want to, but here's the kicker to that.
Might throw your tuning off though.
It may throw your tuning off, and it may throw your timing off. To get your timing back on, and there may be some people out there that knows how to do it just because they've been doing it for a long time. But just about everything that you want to change on a Matthews bow, if you want to tweak it a little bit, whatever you want to do, you have to just about take it to a BOWTECH that knows what they're doing, and pay for something to be done to this bow. I try to take it back to Mac as often as possible if I ever need anything, because Mac don't sometimes if he's not putting something new on it, he won't charge me because I bought the bow from him.
Yeah.
But if I want to do anything like put anything in this bow, for example, if you ever was to sell a Matthews bow, you can't just outright sell that bow to somebody. Let's say you wanted to pass it down to your son one day. If he don't have the exact draw length that you want or that you have, it's not going to fit him. And with this bow and the Matthews bows, you have to buy new mods. Mm-hmm. So you're talking $80 to $100 to change the mods out on this bow to fit whoever else is fixing to use this bow. Mm-hmm. So this setup here is a one-and-done setup, in my opinion. It's one of them things that if you don't have everything a BOWTECH has at your house to work on this bow, you have to just about take it to the BOWTECH and let him change it for you, and then you're done. But I'm the kind of guy that likes a one-and-done setup. I like to get the bow ready. I may have to do a little tweaking to the sights and stuff to get it sighted back in from year to year. But very few times do I ever even have to do that because I don't touch anything on the bow until next hunting season. I get it out. I shoot it several times, and I'm ready to go to the woods. But for this setup, man, I have no complaints on this setup. Like I said, the only thing they did with the lift is they shaved 3 ounces off the weight of the bow. Mm-hmm. And if you know anything about archery hunting, ounces and pounds do make a difference. But 3 ounces, in my opinion, is pushing the limit to make a difference and spending half a $1,000 to either shave off 3 ounces or keep what you got, or buy the Phase 4, which would be $400 to $500 cheaper than going with the lift. And I mean, in my opinion, the Phase 4 right now runs a good race with the lift, and I'm extremely happy with it. One day maybe we can get into what we shoot and what our errors weigh and stuff like that. I would
love to do an episode on that, because I can nerd out on arrows.
Absolutely. FOC and stuff like that.
Heavy versus light.
Yes. A lot of people have a lot of opinions on that. But we'll definitely share our opinion on that. But this setup right here, if you're thinking about buying a bow, that's what Mathews is offering. It's top of the line. I love Mathews. I've always been loyal to Mathews. I've always shot a Mathews bow. I just like Mathews. But like I said, if you're looking for a bow that you're a one and done guy, I want to set this bow up, and for years to come, I want this bow to be the same exact way it came to me, and I got this thing set up for me and me only. That's the setup you want to go with. Mm-hmm. Put it in the closet, get it out, sight it in at the beginning of every season, and let her ride. This is the setup that you want to go with.
And I would say it's the most recognizable brand too.
I would say so. They're big in the archery. Yeah, they're big in the archery. I guess you could say the archery
they've got
rim.
A huge presence in the hunting industry, target archery. I mean,
it has nothing to do with why I bought a Mathews or anything like that. But not too long. Maybe this had something to do with what they did. But Lee Ellis on seat 1. Lee Ellis and Drew and all them boys, they use Mathews, and they have nothing against Hoyt, and they've said that on some of their videos, but they use Mathews now. Like I said, I'm a Mathews guy. I've always been loyal to Mathews, and
we always talk about Lee Ellis and seat 1. That's why you looked at me like that.
Yeah, man.
They got some good stuff.
They do. They got good content. If you haven't never watched them, they're good at what they do, and you need to check them out. But yes, man, the Mathews setup is the way to go if you're a one and done kind of guy like myself. Let's get into the BOWTECH, because I like to talk about the BOWTECH. Even though I'm a Mathews guy, I like to talk about the BOWTECH because there's so many things you can do with a BOWTECH bow. Mm-hmm. Yourself, that makes it's a game changer if you're in that group of guys.
Yeah.
But if you have any more questions, if the listeners have any more questions on the Mathews bow, by all means, shoot me a message on Facebook, text me if you got my number, whatever. I'll run you through everything that I like about it. And I'll let you see the bow, whatever you want to do. But if you got any more questions, let me know. But this is a great setup if you're thinking about getting into the bow hunting, or if you want to upgrade.
Yeah. And you can get a discount using promo code Outcast.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't go that far. You may get kicked out of that place.
Get out of here. I'm joking. Why would I say something like that? Oh my gosh.
Scat.
Well, I chose to go with the BOWTECH Core SR. It was between this and the Mathews Lift that had just come out, and I like to tinker.
Yeah,
I love to tinker around with arrows, arrow weights, draw length, poundage, just to experiment and see what happens. And I wanted to be able to do stuff like that at home, without having to go to a bow shop. Mm-hmm. And anyway, and the BOWTECH really caters to that type of guy. So just to talk about that a little bit, instead of the mods that you have to swap out, let's say that I get some new arrows.
Yeah.
And I choose to go with a smaller diameter, because that's what I'm thinking about doing.
Yeah.
Smaller diameter.
Which is what I'm shooting, I guess.
And I shoot it through paper.
Yeah.
And I get a tear, left tear. I can take an Allen wrench, and I can adjust my cams to accommodate that.
Yep.
Shoot bullet holes through the paper.
Yep.
And without taking it to
a BOWTECH.
To a BOWTECH.
Yep.
A BOWTEChnician. We could get confusing if we keep saying BOWTECH with this being a BOWTECH.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
I didn't think about that. But anyway, so that's cool. And here's what's really cool about this 2024 model. This is brand new for this year. Timing.
Yeah.
You can adjust your timing with an Allen wrench put it in a draw board. Those are fairly cheap online if you can get one and put it at your house and shop or something. Check your timing. You can adjust that and fine tune it.
Yep.
With
All
an
yourself.
Allen wrench. No twisting cables. Use the Allen wrench. That's awesome.
Oh man, that's great. That is a great, I guess you could say, selling point for guys like you that like to tinker.
Yeah.
Or for guys that don't like to tinker, but they go on trips across wherever they want to go to.
Yeah.
If they get there, they don't have to find the nearest bow technician.
Yeah.
To fix their bow if something's wrong. They can do everything off of a YouTube video. I'm sure some people have YouTube videos out there that will show you exactly how to do whatever you need to do on that bow.
Yep.
That makes that thing.
And draw length.
Nice.
You can adjust draw length with an Allen wrench, slipping this disc around. Cool thing about BOWTECH, not just this year model, but later model or earlier models as well.
Yeah.
They have a comfort and a performance mode. So comfort, you're going to get more of a better draw back.
Yeah.
And performance, you're going to get faster, but you're going to compromise that smooth draw back. Anyway, I run with it on comfort. I haven't even tried the performance yet.
Yeah.
But you can get a little bit more feet per second if you run performance. If you flip that disc around and do that. So that's some cool stuff there. You can adjust the weight, of course, with the limbs there. What else? Quiver. I went with the low profile quiver as well. I don't have any errors in mine. I've already cleaned up and organized from hunting season, but anyway, really slim, a lot slimmer than the one I just came off of.
Yes.
It's not as good as the Matthews, but it's very tight to the riser.
Right.
I was running into some issues as well with clearance on some of these accessories that I have.
Right.
Arrow rest is almost an issue like it was with yours.
Really?
Almost, but we can run with it. I got the Mantis, I don't know what you really call it, shot analyzer, I guess.
Yeah.
And it hooks to your phone in an app, and it can tell you how good of a shot you made. Was your elbow too high?
Yeah.
Anyway, draw length too short, stuff like that.
It's pretty much your own archery coach in your pocket.
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much. You know, it's going to tell you when you draw back, it's going to tell you your anchor point and how steady you are in your anchor and all that stuff. I mean,
the way it does it is
really cool.
It sees what's happening with that movement, and it tells you this is what happened. Here are some things that it could be. Yeah. And anyway, it's awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be using that a lot during the off season, and you can put that on any bow, not just BOWTECH. I'm going to save the sight for last because I really like that. I'm proud of that.
Absolutely.
But the arrow rest that I went with, I used a whisker biscuit with my old bow. Yeah. And I went to a drop away with it. I thought I was upgrading. And here's one thing that I learned about drop away rest is QAD makes a Hunter model, and it did not work on my bow. Really? And here's the reason. I was getting some weird arrow flight at times, and and my fletchings were white. Yeah. And I could see black marks on them. And what I came to realize is what's happening is that arrow rest on the old bow was, as a shot was being released, it was coming down and it didn't have a break.
Bouncing back up.
And it's bouncing back up, hitting that arrow. Yeah. And which apparently is a common problem with those. So anyway, it almost deterred me from getting a drop away rest, but I asked the bow technician about it. He said, nah, this has got to break.
It's got to break.
You'll be fine. So
with that being said, if I was to get a drop away rest, and in my opinion, I like a drop away rest.
Oh, yeah, this is great now.
One reason is because I can't help but think if you have a whisker biscuit or any kind of rest that touches that bow, that arrow at all times, it's got to slow it down.
Yeah, it's got to.
It's got to slow it down. So I've never been a whisker biscuit kind of guy. So the drop away rest is the way to go. But just like Taylor just mentioned, ask your bow technician if the one that you're buying has a break on it. That'll eliminate your problem.
Yeah, if I'd have known that before, I would have totally avoided that QAD Hunter.
That's right.
Hunter rest.
Yeah,
because it didn't have the break. But anyway, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
But with that being said, though, talking about the whisker biscuit, there's been a lot of deer killed with that.
Oh, man.
For a hunting standpoint,
yeah,
do it.
do it.
Do it.
If that's what you want to do it.
But if you really want to be accurate,
I will tell you, and have as much speed as possible.
Yeah.
I will tell you where a whisker biscuit comes in handy is when you're moving through the woods or you're doing whatever you're doing in your deer stand or whatever. The whisker biscuit holds your air in place.
Yeah.
You never have to worry about that thing flopping off, doing anything. Now they do make the walls of your drop away rest long enough that your air don't do anything. But I will tell you this, if it catches on anything when you unrack that thing to go to shoot a deer or whatever you're doing, sometimes if you're not careful, and they do wrap them to be as silent as possible. But sometimes your arrow may kick up a little bit and bounce. It may do something like that, and the whisker biscuit don't allow that, which I do like.
And plus the friction that the whisker, and I'm thinking of this from like a target archery.
Yeah.
For hunting, I don't think it's as big of a deal, but
right.
But that arrow is maintaining contact with the surface all the way through.
All the way.
So it has to slow it down, like you say, and I think it will affect accuracy. But again, hunting, it's hard for me to, because I have the mindset that if I'm doing something, I'm OCD. I want it to be perfect,
dead on.
So it's hard for me to keep that distinction in mind. But anyway, whisker biscuits are okay. Whisker biscuits are okay for hunting. And
biscuit sounds good right now.
But anyway, that's the rest. Rip cord, drop away rest. I wanted it to be micro adjustable, but they didn't have it in stock at the time, so I just went with this one.
But I mean, and
it works
too. You have you can't see it on camera, but he's got a ruler back here on this, so
you can.
It's no longer. Yeah, you can make adjustments without the micro adjustable. In my opinion, it's just not clicks.
Yeah,
it's moving lines.
Yeah,
so that's not a bad deal.
Nothing fancy on the stabilizer, just a bee stinger.
Yep,
I got it because I guess I'm supposed to.
I'm
kidding.
It's a good stabilizer, but it's a budget stabilizer.
Yeah. The sight. All right. I love this sight. This is what I've been.
One more thing. Is yours dovetail or not?
Yeah, I should have mentioned that. I didn't go the route. So MATHEWS, they call that technology the bridge lock system.
Mm-hmm.
BOWTECH does the same thing, where you can, instead of mounting stuff to the side of your riser, you can dovetail it in the middle of the riser. BOWTECH calls it center mass.
Yeah.
But it's the same idea. When I bought this bow at the time, the only sight that you could get to go through it was a black gold something.
Yeah.
I don't think they even had that in stock at the time. It wasn't that big of a deal to me.
Yeah.
So I just told them to put, a different sight on, one that mounts to the side.
Yeah.
In time, may do that and try it out. But anyway, I went with a red line torch, 2-pin, and I'd been wanting one of these sights for a while.
Yeah.
Because it's the kind that you can slide. You can slide it down. So ideally, when you shoot your bow, you set a pin at 20 yards.
Yeah.
And then you set a pin at 60 yards or however far you can shoot back. The more the better. You use that information to find a sight tape, put the sight tape on, and if you do a really good job, take your time, and you get the right sight tape, that thing's adjustable. If I'm at 28 yards, I'm going to move my dial to 28,
right,
and I should be shooting straight on.
Yeah.
If I want to shoot out to 80 yards, put it on 80. If you've done it right, you should hit there.
So the only thing you really have to do is
just move that wheel.
Move that wheel to go farther and closer.
Yep.
But the only thing you have to do sighting it in is make sure your left and right, your east and west.
Oh, yeah.
Is
get
good.
Your windage good.
Other than that,
yeah,
you move that wheel up and down and you can shoot out there. How far can you shoot? You shot the other day you sent me a video, but you shot the other day at what?
Yeah, before I dropped, before the bow got dropped from the counter, I'll tell that story in just a second. The farthest I had shot was 78 yards.
78 yards.
Mm-hmm. And
which, in my opinion, I would never.
I need
shoot.
to say this. I hit the target. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hit my bullseye. Okay.
You hit the target, not your target.
Yeah. But anyway, but it is cool just knowing you have the capability of doing that.
Yeah.
And just
tinker with it.
Yeah, tinker.
Get out there and shoot it.
But yeah, I love that sight. It's really cool. It has lights. It lights up. Whatever, rechargeable light. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Instead of using batteries, you can recharge it. But I love the setup. I've been able to tinker with it some. My goal was I wanted to kill a deer with it because I got it in the middle of hunting season, or actually on the tail end of hunting season.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kill a deer with it. And I was working on it. I had it in a bow vise.
Yeah.
And I should have the bow vise screwed into a table somewhere, whatever. I was working on it inside in our kitchen.
Yeah.
And I just used a clamp from the shop to clamp the bow vise to the counter.
Yeah.
So it wasn't going anywhere. It was safe.
Yeah.
And I put the bow in the vise, and I was leveling my axis on the side.
Yeah.
And getting everything lined up perfect. And anyway, it was my fault. It was stupid. I left it in the bow vise on the counter. Turned my back for a little bit, and Dawson, my little boy, he was playing. He was tinkering, I guess. He unscrews that vise, and thank goodness it didn't hit him or fall on him. But it fell to the floor in the loudest crash, and I was ready to cry. And anyway, it was all good though, and took it to the bow shop, and everything turned out to be fine.
Yeah.
It did knock the tuning off a little bit because we had to fix that, but all was good. So I was scared when I dropped it off, I was scared I wasn't going to get to shoot anything with it for hunting season, but we got it back very quickly, was able to take a doe with it, and that was fun. And it's not shooting perfectly right now, but we're going to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So get it sighted back in.
To I guess to put them both together,
and I want to stand for it.
Yeah,
dadgummit, I want to stand for it.
Yeah, and you said they don't make them, or you hadn't been hadn't been able to find one yet.
I can't find one anywhere online.
Yeah,
like yours, and that's what I want.
Yeah,
like I say, there's one. If I had a longer stabilizer, there are these two legs that could come off right here.
Yeah.
And it would sit like that forward a little bit, and then the bow would rest on the stabilizer.
Yeah.
But I don't want to shoot that long with a stabilizer.
We and I don't know, it's kind of unfortunate that you have to find a way instead of just them making a stand.
Yeah.
But to kind of compare them and put them together all in one, like we said earlier, that bow that Taylor just got done with, the BOWTECH, outstanding bow. How fast does it shoot?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say that. And we need to talk about this a little bit. On the website, 347 feet per second, which is humming.
Yes.
But I'm not shooting that fast.
Yeah.
All right. And because here's why. All bow manufacturers are going to do this. They're going to 70 pounds.
Yeah.
30, 31-inch draw length, whatever the max draw length is on that bow, because you get more feet per second the longer draw length you have.
That's right.
And, of course, more poundage. They're going to max that stuff out. They're going to shoot, what is it, a 300-grain arrow? Is that right?
I think so. I'm not sure, but
it's 300 something.
So, yeah.
They're going to shoot a light arrow,
yes,
which is going to go faster.
That's right.
And that's how they give you that rating, that 347 feet
They're
per second.
They're going to bulk that rating up to make it sound better, I guess you could say.
And that's on performance mode with mine, too.
To the buyer, okay.
You're going to lose some feet per second on comfort.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just because the bow says it shoots 347 feet per second,
when
you're
you
not
put
going
everything
to do that.
on it and you've got everything on it, you size that bow to what you need it to be, it is not going to hit 347 feet per second. Or mine's not going to hit 340 feet per second. But when you let that arrow fly, it is smoking compared to bows back in the day.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, that bow there, like I said, I've always been loyal to Matthews, but...
And see, I wasn't married to one.
Right, exactly.
That's why I was open to the BOWTECH.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to be loyal to one. I think if I was not loyal to Matthews and I had not shot one and fell in love with the DXT, I would have definitely entertained the thought of buying a BOWTECH just for the sole purpose of, even though I'm not a tinkerer, if anything ever happens and I'm in a crunch for money or finances or anything like that, or if I'm in the stand and I need to make a quick change and I've got some stuff in my pouch or my bag to make that change, I can make that change right there in my stand instead of having to come down. But like I said, I'm with that group that is a one and done kind of guy. You're with the group that you like to tinker. So in the off season, you may be messing with your bow a lot. I like to get my bow out and just shoot the target. I like to mess with the sights a little bit. I do stuff like that to try to get that thing precise. But what, Taylor?
Do. Sorry, I'm in middle school. Sorry.
Oh, Lord.
Keep going.
Oh, good gracious.
I've derailed you now, hadn't I?
I don't even know what I was talking about. But yeah,
I'm so sorry.
I do like to get it out and tinker a little bit with the sights, get it precise and do stuff like that. But that's very little tinkering compared to the BOWTECH. The BOWTECH, it shoots 147 feet per second. Mine shoots 140 feet per second, 7 foot per second. 7 seconds. I guess it's 7 seconds. I'm all jacked up.
7 feet per second.
7 feet per second is not going to make that big of a difference in the hunting world or the target world. I mean,
hey, I will say this. I want to tell this.
Yeah.
I can tell a difference, though.
Yeah.
My bear bow that I was coming off of, I killed deer with it. Nothing's wrong with it. Like, absolutely would never hate on one of those.
Yeah.
But I will say, every deer that I shot with that, I tend to hit a little higher than I meant to.
Right.
And it was much louder than this bow. That doe that I
release.
shot. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was not as dead in the hand as the BOWTECH is that I have now, or your MATHEWS. But there would be, noticeable snap, I guess, when you would release the bow. And then the deer is going to hear that humming of the arrow coming to them. I did notice, though, with this deer that I killed right before season, went out the doe with it. When I shot, she did not react near as much as what they have in the past.
Really?
And I really do think that it's because that bow is quieter itself.
Yeah.
And the arrow is getting there faster. She has less time to react.
That's right.
Now they're still going to duck. I'm not saying that if you get a top of the line bow, a deer's not going to duck your arrow. I'm not saying
Absolutely.
that. Yeah. But I do see a difference.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's mostly the quietness of the bow itself.
Right. Yeah. When we're talking about speed, you can shoot. There's some people that use 40 pounds, 45 pounds. There is a limit.
Yeah.
There is a limit. You can't go out there with a 30-pound bow and shoot a deer because, one, I believe there's state regulations.
Could be, huh?
In different states that tells you what you can and can't shoot, and it may be one whole regulation saying that you can't shoot a white-tailed deer or certain species with this poundage. I don't know, but there's a lot of women out there that shoot very slow bows, and they pound monster deer. Yeah. So it don't have to be the fastest bow on the market. It don't have to be a high-end bow.
Well, even Ted Nugent, I am almost positive. In his older age now, I think he's shooting like 55 pounds.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong, but it's somewhere in that ballpark.
Absolutely.
He definitely ain't shooting 70.
I've heard a lot of people that's been in the archery business for years say that they do not strain to pull their bow back. And the reason for that is because it's way fast enough. It's plenty fast enough to get to that deer and kill that deer.
Yeah.
So why would I pull back 80 to 75 pounds just because I can pull it back? Don't mean I'm going to pull it back, because I don't want to strain myself pulling it back and just because I want to get it there faster, So it don't necessarily have to be fast, but that one shoots 347 foot per second. Mine shoots 340. Mine's a one and done kind of bow. Yours is a tinker bow.
Yeah.
Both bows are extremely quiet, extremely fast. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, you can't go wrong with either bow.
No.
It's just depending on who you are and what you like to do is how you make that decision between the BOWTECH and the MATHEWS. Both bows, both companies are very, very respectable companies in the archery rim, and you can't go wrong with any of the bows that we've talked about today.
Yeah.
So
and I have some form issues that I'm wanting to work on.
Right.
Over the off season, and with those form issues, it led me to want to experiment with different draw lengths. Allen wrench, man.
Yeah.
And I was able to try out a 30-inch draw length.
That's right.
I didn't like that, so I tried 29.5.
Yep.
And I like it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean,
you're able to find that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Versus,
accommodating to the bow.
Yeah.
If it's not just right, you have to accommodate to the bow if you can't change it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't take it back to a BOWTECH. Or bow technician. I have to watch. Everybody be thinking, why are you taking Matthews to a BOWTECH dealer to get it fixed? But yeah, man, you can't go wrong with a Matthews bow. You can't go wrong. Matter of fact, in my opinion, with the bows and the engineering that has come so far this day and time, I don't think that you could really get a bad bow and not be able to kill a deer with it. Or hang with your buddies that have really nice bows. Now, I will go back and I will say, I don't want nobody to take me the wrong way. Matthews does make mid-range bows that you can. I just sold a Matthews. Was it a Mission? A Matthews Mission. Now, I could change the draw length on that one, and the poundage and all that. So Matthews do make mid-range bows that you can tinker with, which is why I bought that bow, is to build that bow, tinker with it a little bit. But when I decided I wanted to get the Phase 4, I sold it just to go along with a little bit of money to get the Phase 4. But so they do make bows like that, but they're high-end bows. A lot of the times you have to have a bow technician to work on them. Yep. And they they have played it very smart, and they just about make you have to buy the Matthews accessories to go on it, which drives that price up. But with either the BOWTECH, with BOWTECH or Matthews, in my opinion, you cannot go wrong with either one.
No.
So just figure out what kind of guy you are, what kind of group you fit into, and buy the bow and get out there.
Yeah. Definitely shoot it before you buy it.
Oh, yeah.
Feel it.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I think we covered it.
Yeah.
So maybe this one can finally get – maybe this is the one.
This is it. Maybe this is it. Like I said, though, for the listeners and the people that watch the YouTube videos, if you have any questions about this, comment on our YouTube video, comment on our social media pages, or if you have Taylor's number, my number, and you need more information before you buy a bow, we'd love to. By no means are we experts on bow hunting or working on bows, but we can tell you what we like and what we don't like about a bow. And we've done research before we bought the BOWTECH and the Matthews. We did research on Hoyt. We did research on several other brands. We just chose to go. I chose to stay loyal with Matthews, and you chose to go with the BOWTECH. We'd be glad to answer any questions you may have if you want to get into bow hunting or if you want to upgrade your bow. So leave a comment.
Yeah, and I will say, too, this is a different style of podcast or video that we've done in the past. We're not telling a story about a deer this time. If you like this kind of information that we have, let us know. If you hate it, let us know that too.
Because
if you like it, I'd like to do some arrows.
I was about to say, like Taylor said, we can really nerd out on some of this bow hunting stuff, like the arrows and
heavy versus light,
getting into the FOC and what you can and can't do with all that, what you want to shoot. We could just go forever on that. So if you like what you hear and you want to hear more about getting into bow hunting, or you want to hear more about upgrading your bow, or if you feel like your setup that you have now is not the setup that you need, by all means ask us and we'll try to figure it out best we can.
It'll be fun.
But leave a comment on our social media stuff, whatever you want to do to get up with us. But
please share us with a buddy.
Yeah, share us with a buddy. Like, subscribe. We have social media pages. Go on our pages. Like I said, leave comments, like our page, whatever.
Outcast Hunting will get us. Yeah. We'll get you to our Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, the Outcast Hunting Podcast.
Yep.
On Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify. Yep.
I'm going to get good at saying that one day.
We won't trip up one of these good days, but like I said, if you like what you hear, let us know. We'll keep striving to answer questions.
Anything else
I think we covered it all, man.
Well, let's end it right here, and we'll see them on the next one.